Presented by Data E.
Welcome to part 3 of the Minnesota Fats Pool Legend commentary. We're about to begin the tournament mode. Tournament mode. I don't know where to start with this one. So, tournament mode depends on the game. If you're playing the Genesis version, you're only going to get 4 different games to play from. You got 8-ball, you got 9-ball, single pocket rotation. But in the Saturn version, and I'm just going to spoil this now, you have to play straight pool. That is the only reason why I have strong distaste for straight pool. 14.1 continuous in this game. So, you're going to be seeing that after the fact. But nope, we're going to be taking on Dixie, who, dang, I still forget her name in the Saturn version. She has a totally different name. It's... Oh my goodness, we gotta try again? I swear, that rarely happens. That rarely ever happens on lag. Please don't tell me it's gonna tag. Good, it doesn't. It doesn't. That would have been painful. That would have definitely been painful. Now, I actually do have different methods for handling the balls in each game. As you're going to see with the Genesis version, I'm usually either going to use major follow or major masse or jumping straight from the dead center of the table, from the center line. In other games, like if you see me playing the Saturn version, you'll notice that the physics are slightly different in that title. So as a result, I have to accommodate for the fact that I need a more speedier method to get the balls going. And so what do? I angle the cue ball in a specific portion. I will either have it at the top on the right or the bottom right. And I shoot diagonally with either major follow or a little bit of drawback. You will need that kind of a method if you want to thrive very well in tournament mode, especially 9-ball. That's actually the only way to pocket the 9-ball on the break. I don't do it in this game. You will not see me do this in the Genesis version. But, you know, at least it's a good strat, it's a good method to get going, and my goodness, I'm chaining balls like it's, I don't know where I'm going with that joke. I don't know. It's like I've got commentator's block. You know, I really need to stop doing these commentaries while I've got commentator's block. It's not an easy sight. Man, that car is loud. You know, I'll be truthful. My street is debatably one of the busiest streets in the city of Lynn, Massachusetts. And bear in mind, this is a side street. Why are side streets so busy? It's like a whole bunch of people just drive through here, no matter what hour it is. Whether it's 1 a.m., whether it's 5 in the a.m., whether it's noon, whether it's 6 p.m., you name it. It's always like it's rush hour around here. And the worst thing that we have around here in this city is actually the fact that people do speeding around here. Yeah, they do drag racing between 10:30 and 4. Now, tell me this. Why is it that we have a city that allows for drag racing while I'm talking over pool games and just trying to enjoy myself? And where are we right now? This is still December 22 going into the 23rd, I want to say. Yep, current time is 12:02 or 00:02 Eastern Time, 9:02 Pacific. And I want to say we've had at least a few vehicles speed through here, at least 3. And we've also, apparently, I guess there was a fire nearby the Target that's in Salem, nearby my area. It's like a 5-7 minute drive without the worry of traffic signals or traffic altogether. Apparently, I guess somebody decided to, like, burn a whole bunch of bras and shoes. Who burns bras and shoes at a store? You don't do that. Why would, who goes out of their way to do that? It doesn't sound right. It doesn't sound logical. It feels very out of place. Like, who burns clothing on the holiday season? I guess that's just one of the things you have to deal with during the late night hours. But hey, at least it makes for good commentary. I'll take it. I'll take it, because I really have nothing really to say about this game. I mean, come on, it's pool. I mean, don't get me wrong, I would gladly talk about Rudolph Wonderone himself if I knew enough about him, but you know, as somebody that has really only owned this game and not really known much about Minnesota Fats himself, aside from the fact that, oh hey, 614. You know what, yeah, I think I could probably talk about, like, the history of Minnesota Fats a bit. So, like, if you're familiar at all with a film that Jackie Gleason was in called The Hustler, in that film, at the time, I think Rudolph was known as New York Fats. So, as a result, the writers of The Hustler basically turned a character in the Minnesota Fats for Jackie Gleason's role. Rudolph had always assumed that that film was based on him, so as a result, he coined the name Minnesota Fats, and that's how it became a trend in the 60s, 70s, and early to mid-80s. What shocks me more is that he wouldn't officially get a real video game of himself until, like, 10 years after his tutorial video. Because, if you look online on YouTube, I'll leave it down in the description, it's basically a video teaching you how to play pool, and it involves Minnesota Fats with, I guess, like, another, then current, professional. And, you know, it's kind of nice to see how to play the game and how to do some semi-intermediate to advanced techniques and skills. You know, it was nice for the time. And then roughly 9-10 years later, you know, Side Pocket 2 comes out. This is the last game that involves... It is the only game that I think that actually has involved him at the time. That was right before, you know, his life ended due to what I presume was cardiac arrest in 1996. I think we lost him, like, it was either 3 days... It was either, like, 3 or 6 days before or after his birthday or something around that. I think it was January 18. Or... sometime around then. I can't remember for the life of me right now. But still. If you ever look up his career or anything based on him, it's always something cool. Sure, some people might render it as not the best thing in the world, but, you know, it's a fair balance. It's a fair balance, and it's something that I believe that all of us must at least watch or play at some point in our physical lives. And that's what I appreciate that I'm doing here, you know? I'm giving this game some fun thought. Giving him some thought. I've already said it, but I love this music. Seriously, I'm just hanging out here in my state of Massachusetts OMIS series armchair, and I'm just laying down, kind of like the old Dolby Digital glasses coming off of the armchair kind of logo. That's how I'm sitting. I mean, this music is so relaxing. You could listen to this music for hours and nobody would complain to you. Would I go out of my way to have this be a part of, like, any kind of, like, jazz lounge or something? Or just, like, some regular coffee shop? Actually, that doesn't sound bad. I probably would do that. Knowing me, I'm probably ridiculous enough to do that. I would not mind. Oh, this is a very tricky shot. Do I get it? Yeah, that's a safety. What I could have alternatively done was do a jump, but I didn't want to risk it, provided the fact that the 15 ball was right there. So yeah, I made a smart move there. You have to be extremely careful as to how you hit these balls. Again, one false move and you could duck up the whole thing. It doesn't take much to do it. But still, though, once you get a hang of the physics of this game, it's just, I mean, it's all easy breezing from there. Ooh, how do I do this one? Somehow I don't believe I'm gonna do this. I think I'm gonna do a safety here. Yeah, that's a safety. Again, if you know that you can't pocket the ball, whether you're playing in, you know, general call your shot, or if you're just playing in any other method, just take your time. Don't try to rush yourself. Just make sure that you at least hit the ball so that you don't scratch it and have your opponent have the ball in hand, because that can really decimate your game in less than a minute. You know, I'm not used to playing pool games on a wooden floor. I just noticed that this game takes place on a wooden floor. Whenever I oh my goodness, there's a fly right above me. Ugh, dang it, come on, fly. Dang it. Did I catch it? Nope, I don't see a black dot in my hand, so I guess I didn't. We have fruit flies in the house. It's not a happy sight. It's not a happy sight at all. I'm assuming it's probably because of some issue with our plumbing or something. I'll have to deal with that. Now, what was I trying to say? I forgot. One of the issues that I have with dealing with short-term memory, it's not an easy matter. His name is Clyde. Oh, jeez. Alright, Slim Pickens, let's do it. I don't care if his name is Stubby, I'm gonna call him Slim Pickens. Why do I call him Slim Pickens? It just sounds more attractive. Plus, there was an actual person named Slim Pickens way back in the day, so I thought, you know, why not pay tribute to the guy, right? I'm gonna try something a little different here. Left English. And what is that? Okay, that helps scatter the balls. If you use left English and hit the ball from the left-hand side, well, from that ball's point of view, in this case I think I hit the 2, it allows for easier... Yeah, it allows for easier scattering of the ball, even if you don't... I mean, well, of the balls, even if you don't, how do I put it? Even if you don't sink in any balls, at least you're given more options to where you want to hit. However, be careful using too much English, because worst case scenario is when you hit the ball, you'll end up bouncing in a way that you don't want to. But when you use English, you put a spin on the ball, which is okay if you're using corners for banking. If you do proper banking, you can knock a ball right where you want it to go, or you can have the cue ball hit areas, hit a ball that's not in an easy slot or an easy spot. My bad. in order to get it. Whether you're trying to sink it or just do a safety, you know, it's fair enough. It's fair enough and reasonable. It's not a problem. Not a problem if you know what you're doing. But careful not to use too much English. Sometimes the ball will go too forward or too far away. And that can do some damage. Did he just pocket it? Yep, he pocketed one of my balls. You see, that is the regulation. You see, even if you do a safety to prevent yourself from committing a scratch, if you pocket your opponent's ball, it's their turn. No two ways about it. The only way that you can make up for that is if you pocket one of your own balls in that same shot. But assuming that you hit one of your balls to begin with. And that applies to every game. Unless if I'm missing something. Unless if I'm missing something in the rules. Then again, you're talking to somebody who rarely ever is at a pool table. You can wipe the table with anybody that he dukes it out with. Who would have thought? You know, this is a very calming shade of blue. When I say calming, I mean it's calming. I love this. You know, you got a shade of, like, a darker shade of periwinkle. Then you've got maybe what might as well be 1970s evening blue. Why do I have a fascination with calling it that? 1970s evening blue. What is so fascinating about evening blue with me? I don't know. Well, then again, blue is a color of communication. All of my curtains here in my recording room / bedroom are a good shade of navy. But to balance it out, of course, you know, I've got white or cream-colored walls. I've got lovely pink flowers that were used as a wallpaper, I guess. This house is from 1908, 1910. This wallpaper's been around forever. The only reason why I never changed it was because, you know, it's a calming environment. I love it. The only downside is ooh. It looks like a spider made their own home up in the left-hand side of the of the room, and also over, I guess, nearby the heating pipes. Ooh, that's a bit scary. But no worries, the spiders never go after me. Whenever we have insects hanging around, they're usually the ones that they go after. Another insect that they like to go after too, well, not that they go after, but another insect that we have here in this house that like to go after other insects is apparently, we have centipedes. However, it's not, you know, those traditional 50-ball, two-legged centipedes on each side of each ball. No, it's not that kind of centipede. It's, you know, the common brown household centipede. Normally, you would think that they're evil because they're huge and they go very fast. They can't penetrate your skin. They can't penetrate your skin. They're not harmless. They won't try to even go for you. They'll touch you, maybe, but they won't try to bite you or anything. They don't like human skin. So just let them be. Just let those centipedes be. Let the brown centipedes do their job. They eat the other obscure insects that could hurt us. That's the best way to put it. One of the things I One of the things that I honestly do like about this game when it comes to tournament mode is the fact that, well, at least for the Genesis version, because nobody has a particular theme, the music randomizes every single round, which is a bit uncommon for most games of the time. Because, you know, even in basketball games or hockey games or even, you know, just like traditional casino titles, there weren't a lot of music tracks to go with it. And especially on the Genesis and Mega Drive, where the majority of the sound effects are done through means of the PSG and the DAC. Barely any YM2612 music is ever used. In fact, in the case of this, I don't think there's barely any PSG used in this game. The only instance where you hear the PSG, to my knowledge, is when you're charging up your shot. When you see the min to max. Did I just scratch my ball? Oh jeez, why did I do that? Oh right, I accidentally save stated. That's what happened. It's either that or I intentionally threw it away. But back to what I was trying to say there. Yeah, the majority of all the soundtrack in this game is all YM2612 and DAC. There's barely any PSG used, and if there is any, it's probably maybe for like cymbals or something. But it doesn't. But even then, it doesn't really sound like that. And he just committed foul. Yep, Pickens committed foul. That's why I threw it away. Because I knew he would do that. That's what... I'm smart. I'm very smart. I like that. So, who are we going up against? Hinkle, or are we going up against Pepe Garcia? Sorry, Pepe. Nope, we're going up against Clyde Hinkle. Alright. Alright, Clyde. Give me a fun time. And... just about. Alright. So how do I do this? Oh, I'm gonna jump. Ah, yes, hit the balls from the back. This is gonna give Clyde a hard time here because, you see, now he's given many options, but this is a very tricky situation because he can still keep an open table. So, yeah, this is where I said, don't be surprised if he takes a long time thinking. It doesn't seem so far-fetched once you see it, but, like, all the solids are hanging out there, and he didn't even sink a single ball, my goodness. So what am I gonna do here? Okay, I'm gonna use max follow on the 3, and... alright, I knocked in... what was that, the 13? No, that was the 14, my bad. You would think I'd remember my numbers by now, but no, I don't. And I've been playing pool since, what, 98, 99, 2000? Something around that. It's in this lovely portion in Pennsylvania. What was the name of it? Like, Ware or something? W-A-R-E? Little small town of about, I want to say maybe like 4,000, 4,200 people. At least it's not as small as cities that we have here in Massachusetts. Yeah, like, have you ever known that Florida and Wyoming are actually names of cities here in Massachusetts? Yes, the names of other states are the names of cities here in Massachusetts. That is very weird. Florida is some place up in the Pittsfield metropolitan area. You have to go to far northwestern Mass. Almost nearby the, I'd say a few miles away from the rural New York border. This town, however, the city of Florida, Massachusetts varies between 350 and 1,200 people on average. I think in the 2010 census it was about, I want to say maybe about 740, 750 people. It usually averages about 700, 750 people. And going to Wyoming, Massachusetts, Wyoming, Massachusetts is actually not too far from where I reside, actually. You know, I may be in Lynn, but Melrose is not too far from here. And Wyoming is literally the whole bottom half of Melrose, much to my shock and surprise. Seriously, look it up on a map. I'm not lying to you. It's a legitimate city. We have a rich culture here in the Bay State, and I'm not afraid to discuss it. What am I going to do here? Because there's no way I'm going to hit that... wait, is that 13 or is that 11? Nah, I had no way to do that, so I was going to throw it away. Okay. Fair enough. So what does Hinkle do here? I mean, he's got an open spot for the 7 and the 5. There's no easy way to say it. He can get the 7 and the 5 right now if he really wants to. But we'll see what he does. He's going to try to hit off the 7. Oh, that's very clever. He pocketed the 6. Alright, now he's going to go for the 4? He's not even going to do drawback and also chain the 5. No, you don't do that. If you're going to pocket one ball, just at least pocket all the others. Come on, throw me a bone here. Throw me a duck and bone. By the way, did anybody happen to know that that Mr. Hinkle here looks a bit like Jack Abbott? The Peter Bergman variant of Jack Abbott from The Young and the Restless. Seriously, if Peter Bergman, for whatever reason, watches this commentary, I hope that he acknowledges the fact that that Clyde Hinkle does look like Jack Abbott, because Heck, for all that we know, Peter Bergman probably was a part of this game. That doesn't sound so far-fetched. I mean, heck, this game was developed in 94, released in 95. Perhaps he was doing this with Data East on the side. You never know. Then again, I don't know where Data East is based. Really, Hinkle? You could have creamed me. You could have knocked me. You could have wiped the floor with me. You could have turned me into a mop and got rid of all the gunk on my floor with that sinking of the 8-ball, but you didn't. You didn't do it. Why didn't you do it? Okay, what is he gonna hit here? I mean, he's got a chance with the upper side pocket. He's got a chance with the upper side pocket, and he's got a chance with the upper right corner. And he's also got a chance with the lower side pocket as well. Let's see what he's got. That is not a oh, that's a tough one. It's like he wants to throw it away. My goodness. Okay, but I've got a chance here to clear the whole board. So what am I going to do here? So I'm going to knock the 11, which sinks it in, nice. Which gives me an open shot for the 10 and the 9, actually. So watch what I do here with the 9. I instead knock the... What was that, 12? Yeah, I instead knock in the 12. Using the 9, now I have enough chance to knock out the 9. 9 goes in. Then I have a chance to get in 10. I think 10 does go in. How am I doing this one? Oh, am I not getting the side? I knocked in the side. Nice. I guess I'm good at my own game. Again, I'm very good when it comes to clutch instances in pocket billiards. In 8-ball, I'm a half and half, but as you see there, I just picked up the pace and I won. What a way to beat Mr. Clyde. Oh, but I have another round to go. My goodness. Oh, my favorite track in the game. I love this track. Seriously. You'll always hear me singing to this track when I'm alone. Yes. Am I blushing? Oh my goodness, I'm blushing. I'm blushing to beautiful music. I guess it's expected. I mean, come on. It's not every day that we get to listen to good music in a video game. So... I'll sink it in. I'll sink it in and just enjoy myself. Oh my goodness, I'm dancing. I'm dancing. I guess my body just wants to be one with the music right now. Just like how I became one with the Subway sandwich. Ah yes, Roya Rockwood, one with the Subway sandwich. If you don't understand what I'm talking about, just look at the leaderboards for Knuckles Emerald Hunt. You'll thank me later. I'll be truthful. I did say to myself that if Knuckles Emerald Hunt were fully complete, or had a fully complete build, I would go out of my way to speedrun it for Sonic Hacking Contest 14 online done quick. And that is actually what is happening, or what has happened. I currently hold a record that I think might hold for a while. You'll see why once we get to that point. But for now, I'll just say it's good to be one with the Subway sandwich. As the guardian of the Subway sandwich, I have to make sure that all the sandwiches and the subs are brought back to the box in record time. That's the easiest way for me to put it without spoiling too much. Either way, back to the game. You know, I always wondered, why do they use a coin for the shot charge? It just doesn't feel right. By the way, you might have wondered, why did I do a jump there? That's actually a very strategic move. Remember, jumping is my forte. Do not challenge me in a game of 8-ball if jumping is allowed. Because, hey, 11-10. But yeah, it just kills. Jumping kills in this game. If you know what you're doing, you can sink every ball just by knocking the ball high up in the air from one point to another. It's not that hard. Once you get the hang of it, I mean, you can really give people a hard time. And that's just the way of the game. Oh, I scratched. Oh no, sorry, Hinkle scratched. Okay. But what ball did he hit? Did he hit 3 or did he hit 8? Because I saw 8 move. To my knowledge, however, it's just considered a scratch if you hit 8. It's not considered a foul unless you pocket it. But other than that, alright, let's see. I've got a chance to sink 10 or 11. Nope. Okay, that was a safety. That was a safety. Not a problem. Not a problem. Again, you can't be too safe in a game of pool. If you know what you're doing, just do safeties. Just do safeties. But if you don't know what you're doing, just play a very defensive game. Again, depending on which version you're playing, if you're playing the Genesis version, you want to play in a kind of balanced form. You don't want to be too aggressive or too defensive. But in the Saturn version, especially if you're dealing with like level 5 to 8 players, if you're dealing with level 5 to level 8 players in tournament mode, you want to be an aggressor. Because the issue is, where you are able to make up for losses in the Genesis version, in the Saturn version's tournament mode, what you'll often see is a matter of your opponent being too aggressive. And that also applies to when you're dealing with Minnesota Fats Jr. in the Saturn version as well, if you're playing the story mode. And also if you're doing the 8-ball battle in... Is it the 8-ball battle in free play mode? I'll have to double check that. I mean, I'm still recording the Saturn version as we speak, so that's something I'll probably be able to determine later on. Wow, we've gone over 32 minutes in this part alone. My goodness, jeez. Who would have thought? I'll be truthful with you. You know, games of pool, like a full game of pool, usually takes about 15 to 30 minutes, depending on the amount of players and also the difficulty that is at hand. So it's not surprising that at this point, I'm talking for about 33 minutes and change, 33 minutes and 36 seconds before editing. Just so much time on my hands. This is one of those instances where I kind of wish I still had all my watches. Because, back in the day, I used to be like Red Fox in that one episode of Sanford and Son. Remember the episode where Red Fox basically, basically, I forget the name of the son in that, but he ends up, losing all of his money and whatnot in what I assume was a very heated game of poker. Red Fox ends up getting back all the money, and then some. Yes, he gets all of the hustlers' jackets and all the watches. Like you see him lift up his sleeve. I forget if it was his right or left arm. I think it was his left arm. I'm holding up my right now, and he's just looking at all the clocks. He's just looking at. So what time zone? Eastern, Western, Pacific, Tokyo, Britain. That's how I would be styled. If I wanted to be a big shot like that, I would gladly wear all my stuff in that way. But no, in reality, the only reason why you would ever see me have a whole bunch of watches on my on my arm like that, is if I were to have colleagues working full-time in major divisions in, like, Britain, in Japan, in Australia, and that's actually kind of what's going on around here, possibly. Because we're still developing Royameadow International at this time, so it wouldn't sound so far-fetched if we have people from say, like, East Asia, or Africa, or South America, Britain, Australia, New Zealand, Switzerland, Antarctica, or even the North Pole for whatever reason. Just casually doing work in those areas, so I would need to know what time zones what. But I'm surprised I bring up Antarctica because, because according to Bugs Bunny in one episode, I forget what, I think it was called Frigid Hair. In that episode, he's trying to help a penguin get away from what I assume is an Alaskan poacher, if not any of the cold Asian country poachers. He basically said, like, the days and nights are 6 months. Like, you get sunlight for 6 months and total darkness for 6 months. And according to a 60 Minutes interview that Leslie Stahl recently did in the past matter of months, it's the same way in the North Pole. In fact, certain portions of Russia only have about 1 hour of sunlight during the winter. Some don't even have any sunlight at all. That's scary. To know that an area in the world can only see 0 to 6 hours of sunlight a day. Why would you live there if it's that cold? If it's that dark? I mean, Iceland is also kind of guilty of this too, because depending on where you are in depending on where you are in Iceland, I mean, it is dark to the core. The only sunlight you'll ever see, or just daylight you'll ever see, is just like the brightness of the clouds from the mountains. That's it. But it delivers a lovely light show, so I guess that's kind of why it's so attractive. Then again, if you try to go to Greenland, which is the real Iceland, I would say, because the names are swapped. Greenland was supposed to be Iceland, and Iceland's supposed to be Greenland. They switched the names so that certain people couldn't get into the area. So, basically what happened in Greenland was that, if you go to Greenland, it's literally nothing but, like, hard rock, hard ice, and these very huge 2-foot rats. At least that's the urban legend here in Massachusetts. I've always been told that Greenland has nothing but these huge, big anus 2-foot rats. So I guess it doesn't sound so far-fetched when you think of it, but it's nice to have a listen to that. And we're done. We're done. That took too long. Oh, and there's my password. Yeah, you get a password after you complete a tournament. You sadly, however, cannot go back into that tournament once it's over. I don't think the Saturn version allows you to do so either. So, yeah, once you're done, you're done. So the only way you can access the game again, or at least that particular matchup, is if you either do a new save, play on no save, just play the Saturn version without an SRAM, or just duke it out with people via free play mode. The only downside during free play mode, however, is at least if you're playing the Genesis version, your opponent's always going to be randomized, no matter if you're playing easy, normal, or hard. You're given, I think, 6 different people that you can duke it out with per difficulty, or at least 2 or 3 people per difficulty, but 6 in all. And it's a weird scenario. It's a very, very weird scenario, but that's it. that is it for part 3. Coming up next will be the 9-ball tournament. Ah, yes, 9-ball. The easiest game out of the bunch that I can do for this title. If I had to say, though, my utmost favored game is 7-ball. I can duke it out with you in 7-ball, even on professional or pool master difficulties and rules. The heck, 1986 ESPN Masters of Pool tournament rules, I can duke it out with you easily in 7-ball. That won't be a problem. Just don't tell me to call your shot. I don't like call your shot. Call your shot is just bad. Either way, on to part 4.